And welcome back to this edition of Critical Mass Radio Show. I am your host, Rick Franzi. Michael Sawitz, CEO of Fastfire Studio, is our guest for this segment. Our audience demographic is 98% business owners and executives who listen to learn from our guests. If your firm is interested in reaching these top decision makers, then advertising on our radio show may be the answer. Each month, our sponsors gain valuable exposure through their support of our program. If you'd like to learn more, then contact our VP of Sales, Rose Chamora, at 951-515-4661. That's 951-515-4661. All of our show archives can be found on our website, criticalmass4business.com. Okay, Michael, welcome to the studio.
Hey, great to be here, Rick.
Let's talk a little bit about you before we get into Fastfire Studio. Tell me a little bit about your professional background.
Oh, this is career number 3 for me, Rick.
Okay.
First was in the apparel industry, both retail and manufacturing. And the next was a retail operation that became a franchise. We wound up opening a small store in Mission Viejo that became 124 national units.
Wow. What was the name?
That was AIM Mail Centers.
Okay.
Packing, shipping,
Sure.
business services.
Right. Right. And now?
And now, Fast Start Studio. Yay.
Okay. Fast Start Studio. I have been there. I know that the owner of the radio station, Paul Roberts, has been to your facility. Tell us a little bit about Fast. First of all, tell me the inspiration for starting Fast Start Studio.
Oh, that starts with back in the franchise business, all right, with AIM Mail Centers. And, you know, it's about brand when you're running a business, especially a franchise. And so maintaining your brand standards is important. This new thing happened 6 or 7 years ago called social media. You might have heard of it?
I did.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
At that time, it became very difficult to manage that. So what was better to manage this new technology, a 60-year-old or a 20-year-old? So I hired a team from Cal State University Fullerton. They came out, did a wonderful project for me. After it was over, the professor asked me to stay on as a mentor, of which I did. And I got to tell you, Rick, that was a game changer for me.
In what way?
And Thursday nights became the most important part of the week, if you will.
Okay.
And I finally figured out, you know, I would rather be doing Thursday night than the other days.
Okay.
And so the only thing I could do was not be hypocritical, because I always told people, do what you're passionate about.
That's right. That's good advice.
Though I love my company, all of our franchisees, our 15 employees, I knew it was time for me to make a change. So I sold AIM Mail Centers with the purpose of changing my life and becoming a mentor full-time. And that's the idea behind Fast Start Studio.
So let's talk about Fast Start Studio then. What is it?
Fast Start Studio is a mixed-use business incubator, which means we have products, services, and technologies, all those businesses under one roof. They may have been just a concept on an executive summary, or may have been years of work already, but it hadn't launched. We help people launch their companies.
Okay, so they haven't launched yet.
Haven't launched
That's a requirement
yet.
to be allowed into the Fast Start Studio. Kind of pre-revenue? Is that what you're saying?
Pre-rev, exactly.
Okay, so they're pre-revenue. And how do you decide who gets in the door?
Well, I've got this crystal ball.
Do you?
Yeah.
Did you bring it today?
No, it's under lock and key,
Of
Rick.
course it should be, yes.
So the days that I don't have the crystal ball, I ask 6 or 7 very important questions. And there are certain criteria that the company has to meet. First of all, for us, it's about scalability. So is it a company that can grow and hire people, create jobs?
Okay.
And that company do business maybe with local suppliers who will grow and hire people, create jobs. Everybody pays taxes, and one by one, we improve our local economy, one startup at a time. That's one of the major pieces.
So you're not looking for people that are starting lifestyle businesses?
No, I got to tell you, love them. That is commendable. It's what America's built on.
Right.
But my focus are scalable businesses.
It sounds like you want to give back to the Orange County and the Southern California business community by increasing employment and increasing employment not only directly but indirectly through supply base as well.
That's right. You know, this downturn or depression, whatever you want to call what we've been going through for the last 5 years, has had tremendous impact on our communities.
Yes.
So Kauffman Foundation did a study here in California, I think it was 9, 10, and 11, that showed better than 9 out of 10 new jobs came from either a startup or small business. So it's going to be us in the startup community and small business that's going to turn it around. It's not going to be the government. It's not going to be big business. It's going to be startups and small biz, and that's where I want to be.
That's interesting because at the California State University, Fullerton Economic Mid-Year and the one in October, the annual, that was one of the things that Dean Puri talked about is how the lack of startups being started in Southern California had a direct impact on unemployment because so many jobs are created by startups hiring and needing people, and that they were watching new business startups because that they felt the economy unemployment would really take a positive turn when more businesses were successfully started.
That's right. In fact, I'll be with the dean tomorrow. We've got a strategy session for the Center for Entrepreneurship, Cal State Fullerton, tomorrow, and this is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, and I hadn't fully appreciated how important startups were. Yeah, I always knew small companies created the jobs, but I kind of thought they were the companies that are already with 5 employees or 7 or 10, thinking that it's the solopreneur who needs to hire a VP of sales or whatever. That's where the initial jobs come from. That makes me feel good for people like you that are having incubators here in Orange County trying to give back to the community a little bit.
Right. I mean, I'm a Californian, married to a Californian, been living in Orange County for 42 years, so this is my community. I've had my successes here. I've had my support base here, and it's my turn to give back here.
Right. And so what do the tenants get for being at Fast Start Studio?
Well, they get a cheerleader for one, and that's me.
That's important.
And if you've looked at my business card, I'm Chief Enthusiasm Officer. That's a new take on CEO.
Right.
But it's true because I'm not running their companies. They are. Okay? And I took complete ownership for all my prior companies. Now I'm in a support role. So the idea is to surround each of these companies with what they need. Now, there's certain core things, finance and accounting, marketing, HR, leadership. They need to know about these things and develop these skill sets. But beyond that, then they need specialized skills, subject matter experts. And that's where is really the magic behind Fast Start. It's the really smart men and women, 70 or 80 of them, that donate their time to help these people grow. I just get to be sort of the connector.
So you have a network of people that are willing to give of their time to help these startups get going?
That's it. Amazing people, C-level, mid-management, people that are all accomplished that feel like I do. It's time to give back.
Okay. And so they're doing this
pro bono.
Pro bono. Thank you.
Yes, exactly.
Well, what a great opportunity to take advantage, because every entrepreneur comes with a set of skills, but invariably there are not enough skills many times to successfully get through and navigate everything that you have to do in growing a business.
That's right.
Right, because as the business grows, it gets more complex.
Yes.
Success is your own challenge, right? Managing that success.
That's
so
right.
At what point do you kick the bird out of the nest?
Yes. Well, that's a little bit more complex, but one of the components is revenue when they've gone to rev, when they've built a team that's too big to house. And there's other components. You know, we do that sort of one-on-one. What is the criteria we agree on? Okay.
And how many companies are you incubating right now?
I think right now I've got 23.
Wow.
Yeah, it's growing.
Do you have more demand than you have capacity for?
Yeah, there's always more demand. I haven't hit, I think, the max on capacity, but it's turning away 5 or 6 for everyone we take because of having be right. And one of the other criteria, Rick, is that it's got to be something that can come to market within a year or less.
Oh.
That's another component.
Okay, so you're pre-revenue, but you have a plan to get to revenue shortly.
Yep, they can't. We don't want them to stay more than a year. This is not a place to hang out. This is get it done and get on with it.
Okay.
So another criteria is that it's got to be something we have resources for. So it can't be pharma because we don't have wet labs, and it would take too long to go through FDA anyhow. We don't have $1 million CNC lathe, so it can't be aerospace, but within the resources we have, that opens the door to a lot of different technologies.
Interesting. And is it mostly technology companies?
Right now we're 65, maybe 70% tech. That's web and mobile. It's also clean tech. I have some biotech. And then the rest are services and products. Products have become very, very important, and they've always been important to me in my life, but they're not important to most incubators because they don't scale quickly and don't have these giant exits. But we're going through a whole new time.
We are.
In the world, and it's the time of connected devices. Some people call that the Internet of Things. And the startup founders that we have are all working on connected devices.
How exciting.
Yeah.
We're talking with Michael Sawitz. He is the CEO, Chief Enthusiasm Officer
Yes,
at
sir.
Fast Start Studios here in our show today. We're going to take our third and final commercial break. Don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. It only lasts about 3 minutes. And when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. I'm going to ask Michael, from his experience watching these startups, kind of any key things that some of them do that get to revenue faster than others. So if you're out there and you know someone who's starting a business, you want to make sure that you listen to this so you can share Michael's knowledge with them, or maybe point them to the podcast when we have it available tomorrow on our website. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after these words from our commercial sponsors.
There's something positive about the word up. When things are looking good, they're looking up. When someone's down, you cheer them up. So how do you move up? Well, when it comes to getting your bachelor's or master's degree, there's one university that stacks up. Brandman University. Brandman is ranked by U.S. News & World Report as one of the nation's top 10 universities for online bachelor's programs. Brandman's online graduate programs in business and education also receive top honors. So look us up at brandman.edu. Brandman University. Move up.
Smart Business Network is a business-to-business multimedia company providing insight, advice, and strategy for C-level executives of fast-growth, middle-market, and large companies. As one of the nation's largest publishers of local management journals, under the Smart Business name, Smart Business Network publishes 19 regional print editions, presents dozens of large and small-scale business conferences and award programs, and produces a vibrant interactive digital media presence. For more information, visit us at www.sbnonline.com.
Richard Franzi is a highly sought-after keynote speaker on topics of interest to CEOs of middle firms across North America. Richard's talks include Killing Cats Leads to Rats, a fascinating look at how unintended consequences of CEOs' decisions impact their firm's performance. Your Gray Matter Matters, which explores how a CEO's mindset can differentiate a middle market firm and define its culture. Richard delivers talks to a variety of audiences, ranging from executive team retreats to keynotes in front of hundreds of CEOs. To learn more about his talks, visit criticalmassforbusiness.com and select the contact page or call 949-887-4104.
Welcome back to this edition of Critical Mass Radio Show. I'm your host, Rick Franzi. Michael Sawitz, CEO of Fast Start Studios, is our guest, and I'd like to thank and acknowledge our listeners who download our show as a podcast. You've downloaded over 12,300 shows during the last 30 days. We here at the program truly appreciate your continued and growing support. All of our shows can be heard live, of course, here on internet radio station octalkradio.net, or rebroadcast anytime from Apple iTunes, Stitcher.com, Spreaker.com, and other business-oriented podcasting sites. All right, before we get into what I said we're going to talk about before the break, Michael, help me to understand your business model. How does that work for you?
Well, Fast Start is built on a unique model, very different from other incubators. First of all, Rick, we don't take any equity. I believe that's the life's blood of any startup. You need to be able to trade that equity down the road for not only investment, but be able to attract the right kind of team. So we don't take any equity. In fact, we don't take anything. And that first year, we totally underwrite it ourselves. Now, here's the thing. If that company never launches, fails to launch, they don't owe a dime. That's my investment in them. Now, if they do launch, it's sort of like a student loan. There's a payback, but it's sort of paying it forward because it's underwriting the students, the startups that'll come later. And that's where we're a little different too. So this student loan, unlike a college student loan, there's no interest.
Wow.
All right, so no equity, no interest, and small payments over years. Now the difference is if that company is acquired, somebody buys them, of course the note's going to be paid off. But it doesn't matter whether it's a big chunk or the little chunks that come in monthly. We take 20% off the top, goes to scholarship, 40% goes to a seed fund we're trying to build for future startups, and 40% comes to the house to keep the lights on. And that's our model to get to sustainability. The thing is that every business needs to have a solid financial model. You could do it a lot of different ways, but if you can't generate the capital, you can't play the game. And that's the way we are at Fast Start. We're just doing it a different way.
You are doing it a different way, and it almost sounds like you're just trying to cover the costs of Fast Start Studios with the way that your model is set up.
Don't tell my wife, though. She thinks we're making money.
Okay. Well,
okay.
Is she listening today?
No. Oh, Vicki, are you listening?
Honey, yeah, we're just kidding. Okay. So you really are, this is a give back then for you.
Yes, very much so.
And your knowledge, because you're a successful entrepreneur that built a business that scaled to a national brand.
Yes, sir.
So how valuable that must be for the entrepreneurs that are in your studio.
But again, I'm just the connector. The real magic are the, like I said, 70 or 80 people who donate their time to help others start their business. And it's fun for them as well.
When did you start Fast Start Studio?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. And what's the future hold for Fast Start Studio?
Well, today I got an offer to multiply it to scale.
Really? Can you tell us about it?
You
brought it up.
You know, what we'd like to do is to duplicate what we're doing in other locales.
Okay.
Right? So
not in Orange County.
Right.
Okay.
You know, it may be Phoenix or it may be Dubai. Well, not Dubai. Dubai has one that's run by the government. But certainly it's the idea that every environment has people with ideas. Every economy needs a shot in the arm. So why not use the same proven techniques and just scale it?
You've been in the Orange County business community for quite some time. You have obviously deep relationships, being able to convince 60, 70 people give their time freely for pro bono work. What is the complexion of the Orange County business community relative to what you're seeing? Because I'm thinking you must know angel investors, you must know VCs, private equity firms, the whole money part of the investing side of starting a business, as well as understanding how to get a business started. Can you just give us a sense for what's going on in Orange County?
Sure. I mean, it's so vast. Just in general, we've got 3 million people, 40,000 businesses here. I think we're the capital of gaming, all right? So with Blizzard and Gaikai and now Oculus, a $2 billion exit just a few weeks ago. Gaming, MedTech is very, very big here. There's other businesses that we're the center, ground zero for the global business. With 4 universities churning out engineers and entrepreneurs, this is a great place to be. So you need to have the concept, you need to have the infrastructure, and you need to have money, is what you were talking about. So there are several angel groups here, and that's the hardest thing for us, is to prove that we're sort of worthy of investment here in Orange County. It's not all about Silicon Valley or Austin or Tel Aviv or Singapore. We're having our own successes here, and that over time will bring more money in, and that's what we need.
And let's talk a little bit, excuse me, about, I'm talking with Michael Sawitz. He's CEO of Fast Start Studio, manufacturing in Orange County. What are you seeing relative to manufacturing in the county?
Well, it's kind of an odd thing. It's starting to come back.
Yay.
Yeah, yay is right. We at one point sort of priced ourselves out, you know, from the real estate. Our labor laws, workers' comp was definitely a dampener. And just the cost of doing business is why everyone went offshore. But it's starting to come back. The first thing was nearshoring. So instead of going to China, it was now Mexico or Brazil, right? And now we're starting to see it homegrown. I'm loving it.
Right. And those are hard companies to start because of the capital requirements many times, although technology is making it easier to become a manufacturing, and it's easier to sort of part it out too now, right? To find shops that will do the manufacturing for you. That's a very good business model as well for companies. And we have some of those, and electronics assembly companies here in Orange County.
Absolutely. And on top of it, we've got the workforce. We have a trained, educated workforce.
Right. When you have companies like Broadcom and other high-tech companies that kick off tons of engineers who have an entrepreneurial spirit, having probably seen the success of the Broadcom model, I'm sure those beget other startups that stay in the general locale, right?
That's
they
right.
probably went to UCI or maybe a Southern California educational institution. They don't want to leave Southern California if you don't have to, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and I always find it interesting because we're sitting between L.A. and San Diego. We sort of lack a little bit of our own identity here in Orange County.
That's right. But, you know, there's events going on. I judged Startup Weekend at UCI a couple of months ago, judged a Arduino board hackathon a month ago, which was, 100 or so engineers making things in 54 hours that work out of an Arduino board, which is an open source microprocessor. Stuff's happening here.
Right.
Last weekend, there were 400 students and startups that came together for virtual reality.
Wow. I didn't even know there was virtual reality being developed here in Orange County.
Well, that's Oculus Rift.
Okay.
And Oculus Rift went public, didn't go public, it was acquired by Facebook for $2 billion. So here's a startup that went from 0 to $2 billion in 20 months. You tell me.
Right. That's not typical.
That's not typical.
Okay. But
Yeah.
if there are entrepreneurs out there, or maybe even more importantly, because I know for a fact that there are executives who listen to our show who are still working for large companies but have that desire to move out on their own, what's the right type of person that should approach you with a business plan or a business idea that might get accepted into Fast Start Studio?
So it's not what type for me, it's who can thrive in startup land. A land of high uncertainty. So it takes someone with courage.
Right.
You got to have guts or you can't play this game.
Right.
You have to obviously be a quick learner, have intellect. But most importantly of all, two things. And one is tenacity. You don't give up. And the other one is flexibility. Because I got to tell you, very, very rarely do we see what the original idea and the final launch, they never look the same, right? So
Right.
it's all this iteration. It's the iterative process of being connected with your customers, being connected with your environment, and making the changes that's necessary to bring your product to market. So it's not just, I had this idea and we're going to build it exactly that way. That doesn't work. It's going to change. And in order to change, you have to have people who embrace change. Right.
That's interesting because on one hand, the entrepreneur, if I heard you correctly, has to really have the confidence and the conviction and the stick-to-itiveness to build a business that's going to make it. Because the world doesn't care about the business, right? Only you as the entrepreneur
That's right.
care. Nobody's doing business with you. You know, I mean, customers, nobody even knows you exist. It's an idea in your head. But on the other hand, that same person with all those qualities has to be willing to adjust and change and adapt.
Yeah, so listen to this story. Last year, a young man comes to me, civil engineer, quits his job, got an idea, comes to me, I love it. We start working together. 2 weeks later, the company launches not close, but exactly what he's doing, and was launched with a $12 million investment and a board of directors that were all the customers were going after, C-level customers were going after. And so we looked at each other and said, that's it. Let's put let's end this. And he says, do I have to leave? I said, no, you have to find another idea. 2 months later, working every day, he came up with another idea. We tried it. It wasn't a big enough market. A couple months later, he finally got it. And that one is very close now to launching. Dilip Malavi building QuickDial. It's a terrific app for your mobile that matches small businesses with customers. And it's a wonderful model, and I can't wait for that one to come. But it was because he was tenacious, because he was flexible,
Right.
because he had the intellect to understand the pieces. That's what it takes.
That's exciting. That's a great story. What a great way to end the interview, Michael. Can you tell us how someone will find you online if they want to learn more about Fast Start Studios and you as its CEO? How do they find you online?
Oh, the best way, Rick, is faststartstudio.com. A simple application, 7 questions, fill it out, send it to me, I will respond.
Fantastic. I want to thank you for being a friend of the program, giving of your time, and what you're doing to give back to the community is outstanding. I really commend you on that, and I hope you do take up the offer and scale the business across the country, Michael.
We'll talk about that later,
right,
Rick.
Maybe we'll have you back on the program when you can talk more freely about that. I really want to thank you for your time today.
My pleasure, Rick.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're against the clock, so we're going to be wrapping up the show. I'd like to thank our engineer for today, who is Paul Roberts. Our producer is Crystal Nunley. Our media strategist is Asia Celestino. Our social media manager is Melissa Padani. Our VP of sales is Rose Chamora. And I'm your host, Rick Franzi. If you'd like to learn more about critical mass for business, the CEO peer groups that I lead, or maybe you know a future guest that you'd like to nominate to be on the program, possibly you're interested in becoming an advertiser and supporting Critical Mass radio shows, then visit our website, Critical Mass for Business. You'll see our contact information there. Please reach out. We'll be happy to talk to you. Until the next show, I hope that all of your business decisions move your company in a positive direction.